We have a sad situation that's happened recently, and we've had a loss in the family, and we want to dedicate this time to that loss. Roll the tape. I need to do a cinematic headshot, but I don't have enough space. Wait, idea. Use the roof of an abandoned house. Crap, I need to hurry. It's about to rain. Okay, this won't end well. Okay, no one was hurt. Are you sure you're gonna leave it like that? Well, I guess you just don't care, do you? Rest in peace, YN685C. Welcome to Photo Talk Show. Sorry about that.
Rookie mistake. What can I say?
We needed a little laugh in the beginning. So today we are going to talk about lighting. And my name is Romeo Giovanni.
My name is Alexandre Leitão.
And we're going to show you guys a 5 light setup that anyone can do. And we're going to start with 1 and move our way up each way until we get to a 5 lights. Now, doing this is going to be very easy, very simple, and all of you can do it. Now, if you have questions during this live feed, feel free to just post the question, and we'll try to answer it while we're doing it. Now, this is 100% live, so I'm pretty sure we're going to screw up somewhere, but we may not. So,
yeah, we are doing something that is really out of box with new tech, and we're going to try to do it right, but maybe we never know.
Right. So, here we go. I'm going to introduce you to my lovely wife of 17 years today. Today is our anniversary. Melanie? Let's see. All right, this is Melanie. We met 17 years ago, and for our anniversary, we're doing a live for you. So we hope you really enjoy this one, okay? All right, so sit up in the front. All right, good. Turn this way. All right, perfect. And then you're going to turn your head towards the light. All right. All right. So,
okay, just to put out some points, we're going to do it live. You're going to see what Rome is doing in the back scene, and you're going to see the back of the camera of Rome. So you're going to know all the settings, how he set up the light, and you're going to see the results right away.
And you're going to see it like this. So you're actually going to look at the camera as to what the camera is actually seeing in real time. Okay? So the first thing we want to do when we actually go to take a photo is you got to determine what speed, what aperture, and what ISO you want to do. We're in a studio location. This location is the same as a regular bedroom, okay? And what I'm showing is all these lights can be utilized inside of the bedroom, okay? So the first light that we're going to use is what's called the main light, okay? Now, determining what we wanted, we were looking at, let's see, we're at 1/125th of a second, f 4.0, ISO 100. That's what I like to shoot at inside the studio. My f-stops are usually between 3.5 and 5.6. Now, for the main light, we're using the 4-foot by 6-foot softbox, that giant softbox that we talked about last week. So the 4x6 softbox is one of my favorites because of the wrapping light that it creates. So when this light actually wraps Melanie's face, you're going to see how the shadows are very soft. And then we're going to change that modifier later on in the show to one of the ones that we actually recommend for beginners. Okay. So the first one is 22-inch metal
hard shell beauty dish.
beauty dish, right? And the one that I'm always telling people to buy is the 34-inch beauty dish by Easy Lock. Okay.
One thing that we didn't say yet is that you are combining continuous light with flash. So can you give just some direction on what gear you're using for lighting?
Sure. So right now we're using two AD600 Godox. One is over here with the big softbox, and the other one is going to be with a 2x3 softbox, and that's going to be the kicker light. The hair light and the background light, I'm going to use just GVM 80 watts, and those are going to be used for a hair light and for the background. So we're going to be mixing flash with constant to show you that, yes, it can be achieved. So,
And it's not hard.
no, it's not actually. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our settings, even with a constant light going, is going to give us total black. So I'm going to go ahead, Mel, if you could turn your head towards the light. I'm going to go ahead and focus, and you're going to see it's black. Okay.
So what Rome is saying is that we have constant light for video. There are video lights turned on, and he is just showing that those lights are not influencing the picture. They are not coming out in the picture.
That's correct. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to ensure that our main light is going to be equivalent to the light that you want it to be at f4, 1/125th, and 100. And the way we do that,
this is the best part of everything. Rome, I'm going to show you something that will save you a lot of money.
so what we're going to do is use this beautiful $7 gray card. And we're going to take the shot. And there's the shot. Okay. So now what we want to do is go look at that photo. And we're going to look at the histogram. So now looking at that histogram, like it is underexposed. And in this case, it's underexposed by almost a stop. Okay.
Okay. Just giving some instructions here. What Rome is seeing is the spike that the gray card gets in the histogram. So there are two spikes there. One to the left, there is the black background, all the rest of the picture. And there is another one in the second column of the histogram. That spike should be in the middle, right?
Correct. So now we've adjusted the flash higher power of one stop. And we're going to go ahead and take another shot. And the spike is off by 0.2. So now all we have to do is just go in and up it just at 0.2. And we're going to try it again. And now we're about at that half. I got one more tenth I can do right there. All right. And here we go. And there it is. There's your center. So now I just showed you how to do the same thing you do with metering. And instead of having a $200 to $400 metering, you're now using a $7 gray car.
And some things to put over that is that $400 meter, it will not gonna measure high speed sync. It will not gonna take a reading on high speed sync. The gray card will.
That's correct.
So the gray card is cheaper. Any beginner can invest like $7 to $10, and you get a much more precise result than a light meter.
That's correct. Now, when you see this next shot, I want you to look at how the light comes across her face and is going to actually come into that shadow area. That's the wraparound that I'm talking about. So in just a second, when you see it, Melanie, look right about here. There you go. Notice how in that shadow, let me hit the play button here. All right, put it full screen. That shadow, you can see now there's some light inside the shadow. Why? Because it wrapped around. There's no harsh line right there where her cheek meets the outside of her cheek. Okay.
If you want to see exactly how, not exactly this modifier works, but how modifiers in general work, the last live we did was about modifiers, and we showed the spread of the light of each modifier. I'll leave a link after the live in the description. Roman, we have a question from Angel.
Yep.
Every time you shoot with flash, you set your white balance for 5400?
Yes, because all my strobes and lights are at 5400 Kelvin. So when I set my camera is always set to 5400 Kelvin. That's 100% all the time. I have never changed that unless I'm doing something creative. One way that you can be creative is you want to turn the background blue, then you have to use gels in the flash in order to bring back. So you'd use like a CTO. I hope that answered your question.
Oh, Angel asked the same question twice. What is that? Yeah, you just set your white balance to wherever kelvins your light is. So if you are using flash, it would be around 5400. If you use like tungsten, will be around 2800. So he's asking if even when you shoot outside with flash, if you keep it at 5400. I guess yes, because it's daylight outside.
Same light, same everything. The light still is going to be the same. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to add in the hair light. So now we have our main good. We're going to add in the hair light. So the hair light is the constant light that's right above her head. You can see it there kind of hazy. Okay. So now in this picture, I'll turn your head towards the light. Okay. Tilt your head a little bit. Just a little. Come back. All right. And then look about right here. Good. So in this one, there you go. So now you see a little hair light on the top. Now, how do I show you that? I'll show you the difference. Okay. There's with the hair light. There's without. Can you see the difference?
Can you turn off the main light and shoot it again just with the hair light? Okay. So it gets like really clear where it's going on, what it's hitting.
Let me go ahead and turn that off. So here's with it. That's just the hair light. So now you can see the hair light just adds that touch to the hair like sunlight.
One thing Rome is doing is like when he asked Melanie to look here, change your head a bit, tilt your head a bit like that. He's not only looking to the pose, but he's always aware of where the light is falling, so that hair light doesn't come too forward or too back or too much to one side or to the other.
Now, just where this hair light's located, if you look at where it's directly above and back by 1 foot. So what this does is it throws the light forward, but not on her face. Okay. So even if this was a flash, it would flash down because light goes straight. So this light is going to go down, hit her hair, and continue on in front of her where the camera doesn't see. Okay. So this is the hair light. The next one that we're going to show you, and I'm
Rom, can I ask
off.
you a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Why you get some specular highlights in the hair light?
Because that gives you that sunlight, or like as if a light from the sky is on.
But the hair light is not as strong as the main light, isn't?
No, the hair light is
why
actually.
the hair light shines and the main light doesn't?
Say again?
Why the hair light shines over the camera with a specular highlight and the main light doesn't shine?
Because the main light is a large light source. Your hair light is a very small light source. So you're going to get a more specular highlight coming off of the hair. And what that does, you're making it one stop less than your main, but because it's small, it's going to shoot at an angle that's going to bounce right back at the camera. So that's going to give you more light coming at the camera than the side light that's not coming at the camera. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
So now we're going to do the backlight. The backlight is also a constant light, and I'm actually going to turn off the main so we can actually see what this backlight does. All right. And here we go. Now turn. Look this way. All right. So here's how the backlight looks. So you can see it's a very subtle look. I like it there. I don't really want it to go any higher because I don't want it to overpower the main light. So I'm making sure that at this settings on the camera, I have not touched that camera. Okay.
Important thing. He's using this backlight, this backdrop light, background lights to create depth in the picture.
Correct.
So you don't need to kind of push it too high to make everything at the same level of brightness. You want to have different levels of brightness to create depth on the picture.
Correct. And now we're going to take a shot and we're going to use all 3 of the lights that we're now utilizing. So now we have a main, we have the hair, and we have the backdrop. So let's make sure Mel's in proper position here. All right, bring your chin forward a little bit. Forward this way. There you go. All right. And then turn your head just a little bit more. This way. There you go. Head up a little bit. There you go. All right. And look about right here. And here we go. Gonna focus. Oh, flash didn't go off. Hey, gotta turn it on. There we go. Perfect. All right. Here we go. There we go. So there. Now you have the background. You have the hair light. Back there. You have the hair light, the background, and your main light. So now you're starting to see the dimension getting built.
So we have two constant light sources and one flash. So the flash is the main, the hair light is a constant source, and the background light is a constant source.
Correct.
And in this picture, you can exactly see the depth we are talking about it, because you see her face, you see her the hair light pushing her out of the background, and a bit of light in the background making the background looks a bit more far. So
right. And now the next light that we're going to have is this one back here. This is called the kicker light. It is 45 degrees from her face, the way she's looking, and it's going to come around and it's going to kiss the side of her face. Okay, because you don't want this light to hit the nose.
Yeah, I'm expert on that.
Yeah. So
let me ask you something again.
Yeah. So
what
the
is
most
the difference
important part
between
is that it is at 45 degrees from the way her face is pointed. Okay. So now this is pointing that way. Melanie's going to be a trooper here. And we're going to go ahead and do this again. All right. Look right here. All right. And now we're going to focus. And the shot. And it didn't go off because I was goofy and didn't hit the button. All right, here we go. Whoa, got to turn off the main. Turn off the main. All right, so now the main's off, the back one's on. So now you should see the kicker light. Okay, so now we're looking at the kicker. Let me throw that back up there. All right, so now you see what the kicker does. You see that little kiss of light that's bringing her? It gives a nice little rim, and that's what's making a separation from the background. So with the kicker light, you're just adding another kiss of light. In fact, it's the same power as that light that was right on top of her head. Okay? The hair light and the kicker light are basically about even. So you're at one stop down from your main light. Okay? So now, if we go in and we turn on all these lights, which we have the hair light. Let me switch this over so you can see what I'm doing here. All right, so we have the hair light. We have the background light. Turn that on. All right, and then you're going to have your main and your rim light. So let's go ahead and switch her over. All right, so now, Melanie, go ahead and turn a little bit more this way. No, this way. Yep, right there. Okay, bring your chin towards the camera. There you go. All right, hold that right there. All right, so now there's with all three lights, or four lights, sorry.
Before we go to the next one, can you tell something to our viewers? Can you explain the difference in between a kicker and a rim light?
Okay, a kicker light will kick off the face. If you look on her face right there, you can actually see the light. If I come to this shot here, you can see the light hitting that little speck on the cheek right here. It's kicking light to you. If it was a rim light, it would be directly behind, causing a rim around the body. It's a very thin rim, a thick rim. So if you go and look at the image, as you can see here, that light kicks off of the cheek. You can see it touching that cheek, but it's not hitting the nose. That's the key to a kicker light, is you don't hit the nose. You have to kick it off the face. Now, a rim light would not hit the face. The rim light would stay in that nice, beautiful, lush hair she had. Okay? So that's the difference between a kicker and a rim light. So I told you you would have 5 lights, but we only have 4 lights. So what is the one thing that I tell everybody to use? A reflector.
Can I answer? I know that answer. I know that one. Can I answer? Can I answer? Can I answer?
So for those that can't afford a reflector, okay,
Because
I'm showing the most expensive reflector in the world. It's a piece of cardboard with some painter's tape and some aluminum foil. And you can see it reflects quite well. I have actually used this for multiple of years, and Mel can attest to it. I've had this a lot. So the fifth light source is this nice little reflector right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this image. All right, give me a second. All right. So you see that image, right? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this nice little fourth line reflector, this fifth light source. Turn on the light here so I can see where it's going. All right. So now I'm going to turn it on. There we go. And I think I missed you. One second. Back there. All right. There. And there we go. All right. So now you can see it lit it up. So if I go back over here, all right. So now what you see here is I've now lightened that shadow on that face, but I shot it from underneath. So let me show you real quick. All right. That's before. You can see I have it in the shot right there because I'm a little too close, but you can see the difference that it's making. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so you can see what I did. All right.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that.
Yep. So all I'm doing is I'm taking this little reflector. I'm coming low. In this case, I'm going to be about right here, and I'm going to turn it until I see it hit her face from the light, and then I take the picture. Look at me.
And that's why we love modeling lamps.
And there we go. And yes, the modeling light is going to be needed if you wanted to shoot this, because the modeling light will help you in determining where you're putting it. Oh, your eyes are closed. Let's try that again, shall we? All right. Look over this way. Give a little bit of a smile. I love you. And look about right here. There we go. Right here. Look at me. There we go. All right. And there we go. So now, there we go. That looks so much better. So now you can see. Ooh, come on. Let me get it. Now you can see that shadow got filled in slightly. You have good light on the face. Everything is clean. You got the hair light. You got the kicker light. You got a background light. She is completely separated from the background. That's the key. So now,
I want to point. Can I point out some things?
Sure.
You go to Instagram, you go to YouTube, and you see some classes where people, or pictures on Instagram where people are over editing and doing a lot of stuff on post. As you can just see here in half an hour that we are doing this live, you can just get our results on camera. Look this picture. If you are in your TV, if you are in a big screen, look this picture. It's perfectly exposed. There is a separation of the background. You can see the clothes, you can see the fabric, you can see everything, and he's shooting at f4, Rom?
F4.
At f4, so you can get your results in the camera. You don't need to over-edit pictures. You just need to pay attention and follow what he's saying, you know?
Yeah, this edit would take me literally 2-3 minutes tops. I wouldn't have to do.
Well, Well,
Hardly
I
any.
have to be honest with you. Any edit will give you like 2 or 3 minutes because you're fast.
Time is money, my brother. Time is money.
Oh, Kevin's here. Hey, Kevin.
So
Kevin Malone from the group.
now, most people I know that are in the beginners group have two lights.
Can you come back to the shot of yourself? We are still seeing the picture.
Oh, oops. So now a lot of you have told me that you only have two lights. And what two lights should I use? So the next shot is using two lights. And the only two that I recommend to use anytime that you want to shoot portraiture is you have a main and you have a kicker. This is going to give you the rim on the dark side, and it's going to give you the nice soft light coming around to make the main. And so what I'm going to show you now is just those two lights. Okay. So again, it's all the same settings. Everything's going to be the same. All right. And my beauty, go ahead and bring your chin this way a little bit more. There you go. Eyes right here. Perfect. Hold it. All right. So now you can see just the kicker and the hair light, or sorry, the kicker and the main is the only two lights in this photo.
And you can still use the aluminum foil reflector to fill in
Correct.
a bit.
And I could actually do that and show you. So
And
with the
for less than, I don't know how much it costs to make one of those, Rom?
to make this, I think it cost me 10 cents. I actually used a box that came to me from Amazon to create the box. So I didn't even pay for that. Well, I paid for the product.
What came inside the box?
Say again?
What came inside the box you used?
A light.
A light? How much? Oh, well, forget it.
Don't worry about that. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that cheap reflector in there, and that'll actually give you a third light source. So I'm going to look in here, and boom. And there's that third light source. Nope, I didn't hit you. Let's try that again. Got TV right there. All right. There we go. So,
oh, that's amazing.
So with that third light source, you can see, and I'll go back so you can see it, but you see that nice, it adds the softness to that shadow. So if I go back, see how it gets dark? Here I almost had it, I just missed, and then there's that. So now you can see the darkness to the light.
That's
So now
the
it looks
difference
like-
of 10 cents in a picture. Just 10 cents. That's what the difference you get.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing, and you don't need a expensive reflector. You don't need all this super fancy gear. I mean, 1 second. This will cost you $7. Okay, this is a gray calibration target. So if you're looking for it, it's called a gray calibration target. And the reason why we're using this, because every camera sees differently. Every sensor has more sensitivity, less sensitivity to light. Okay, but they're all calibrated to 18% gray. So this will give you 18% gray to the camera, whatever camera you're using. This is going to give you 18% gray because it is 18% gray.
You're just giving to the camera whatever she wants, you know?
You're
Wherever
giving it so it's a perfect center every time. Okay. Now, what I said earlier was I was going to use other modifiers. So go ahead and talk to them for a second while I go and change this over.
Okay, can you? I will use this time to ask you some questions too. I think one question that everybody has is, can we do this with speed lights, or do we need monolights?
You can do it with speed lights. The thing is with speed lights is it has to be a smaller light source. So you're probably only going to get about a 10 or 12 inch reflector. You can get a 1x3 or 1x2 softbox that you can use. And other than that, you're not going to really have enough power. Now, if you do get the AD200, okay, you will be able to use like the 34-inch beauty dish, the 22-inch beauty dish, and I wouldn't go with a huge softbox like I just had, but it could do a nice 2x3 softbox.
And at the States, AD200 is not a really expensive flash, is it?
All right.
Because here is kind of a fortune for it.
Right.
Okay, Rome is back. Let me change my screen.
So now I'm using that 34-inch beauty dish. Okay. And again, just like before, in fact, I got to lower this just a little bit because I'm looking at it on her.
While he does that, I will ask something for our viewers. Did anyone notice anything different that Rome is doing with the lights? If you notice, just leave us a comment.
So
it's one thing you didn't mention yet, and I want to see if people notice. It's just Angel saying that it's $300 for the AD200 in the States.
Yep. And so now with this softbox, you're going to see a more defined shadow compared to the last image that we did. But now because I got a more concentration of light and because it's a smaller source, I'm going to go ahead and pull out this trusty $7 gray card. Mel, if you can hold it. There you go.
The grids are part of it, but there is something else, Angel. There is something else that I think anyone noticed yet. But I'll say it when he finished this set with the Octabox, and then I will tell what is it.
Okay. So now we took the shot, and we're going to go ahead and look at that real quick. All right. And as you can see, it's a little bit lower, right? And the reason why it's lower is because I'm in a small area. I'm not in a big studio. I'm doing this inside of the house to show you guys that you can do this inside of a small room.
And that's one of the reasons that you are using grids, because if you had more space, you're probably not going to need it.
So in this case, we're about 3/10, 4/10 off. I'm going to go about there. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and try this again. There we go. Boom. All right. So now,
right in the middle.
I'm not using the hair light. I'm not using the background light on this right now. I'm just going to use the main and the kicker, just like everyone else has. So in this case, Mel, go ahead and turn your face. Bring the hair over your shoulder a little bit. Not that one. The other side. There we go. All right. Let it fall just a little bit. Let's get some of the flies out of there. All right. So now you're going to turn your face a little bit more this way. There we go. Chin down. Perfect. All right. And here we go. Let's fix your shirt a little bit. Bring this arm back like this. There you go. Perfect. That's going to make your shirt fall right. All right. So now we're going to boop. And there we go. So now you saw it only took a few seconds to take that little gray disc and change it, right? And now let me get this off so you can see the whole picture. So now look at that shadow. And you can see how defined that shadow looks from her nose, right? Compared to this one. See how soft the shadow looks now?
Let me just say something.
In fact, let me delete.
Your main light is doing a loop light?
Yes, it's a loop light.
Okay, just to remember everyone, just to remind you everyone, that we have a show was our first show talking about portrait light setups, and we go over all the setups, and the loop light is there, so it will tell you the position of the main light.
Okay, the position's 45 degrees, and I have it actually feathered here. Let me switch over here so you can see.
Oh, you got for it before I say it.
Okay, so
That's the secret I was talking about. That's the thing I was talking about. So, Rom, explain to us why you are not pointing your light straight to Mel.
okay, the reason why you don't want to point your light straight at your person is because you have a hot spot in the center of that light. You don't want the hot spot to hit your individual. So the light is actually hitting me right now as a hot spot. I'm feathered so the edges and the other edge can bounce back and hit her. So you're getting two sides of that hitting her with a soft light compared to a direct on shot. Okay. So the grids, the reason why I'm using grids is because grids are going to make the light spread a lot further. If you remember in our last video, when I put the grids on, you saw how much angular that became. Okay. The grid, because this is such a small room, I don't want the light to bounce off the walls and light up spots that I don't want. So the grids that are on my two main lights and also on this hair light is making that light very focused, so I know where it's going at all times and I'm not losing it everywhere else. Okay. So now this light was 45 degrees and it's about, I want to say it's about 3 feet in front of her. Okay. In fact, I'll measure it. Let's see. 1, 2. Yep.
I'll measure.
My shoes are 12 inches.
Kevin, you can see all our shows, our past shows on YouTube. Our channel is the Photo Talk Show. And go there, just subscribe to us and watch the videos. We have videos on lighting setups, on every modifier we have, and now this video on portrait lighting.
Fala, Blaney. A lot more coming. So this is just the beginning. We got a lot more coming.
So where is... I have something here that I'm supposed to put it in the screen. I don't know where is it. Leave it. Go on.
All right. So as you can see, we were going through this lighting. So if you look at her nose light, you can see how... Go ahead and make that full screen so they can actually see the detail.
Yeah, of course. I just need to find the right button.
So if I zoom in here, look at that shadow right there. Little feather.
Man, you are with some kind of interference in your microphone.
Oh, sorry. If you look at her nose, you're seeing that slight diffuse light. It's not a solid hard edge. It's just a slight soft edge. But if I go back to the large soft box,
look at the eye region.
you see how that light softens?
I don't think you are changing pictures, Rom. I think you are just moving the zoom.
Just moving it. Hang on.
You have to take the zoom.
All right, so here we go. See the difference?
Wow.
See how soft that light is? Because the light source is larger, it's making that edge harder. You see how that light gets harder with the smaller compared to the large one?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very big difference in light. And that's one of the reasons why I love that huge softbox. And here, I'll zoom in here just so you can see what I'm talking about. See how soft that edge of that nose shadow is? It's
not only the nose shadow, but the transition in between in her cheek, in between the light and the shadow is very gradient, you know.
It's very transitioned, and that's what we mean a hard light and a soft light. This is now a soft light with a large softbox. And then if we go back, just so you can see, all right, this is the hard light. So you can see how that shadow and the shadows on the cheek and everything isn't completely in darkness because it's not a direct light, but it's a wraparound light that's just slightly softer than a, you know, it makes that transition from dark to light a very subtle, but not as subtle before. Blaney says
Yes,
perfect
explain.
eyes, Melanie.
Perfect. You're gonna show us the same picture with the reflector. Oh, look who is there.
Well, that was my dummy. All right. So, see, I use that to practice. So, let's see here. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and move to. Oh, you want to do it with the reflector? Is that what you said?
Yeah, with reflector, just to fill in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
shadow people see, even with a smaller modifier and just 2 lights, you still can get an amazing results, and the shadows can be really
Sure.
soft.
Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this shot over here because you've
There's a
already seen
question
that.
for Angel here. Even with the smaller softbox, if you want to make the shadow softer, you just have to feather the light,
The light
moving the
is
softbox
feathered.
away from this. In fact, Angel, Romeo, gonna correct me if I say
Yep.
if I say it wrong, but you are feathering the light to not get a hot spot. Now to take the edge out of the shadow, he's gonna use the reflector to kind of bring that shadow a bit up and make the transition a bit less harsh.
Yep. So, in fact, I'll show that right after I'm done with this shot. So I'm going to go ahead. Mel, turn your head towards the light. Okay. Fix your hair a little bit on that backside. Yeah. There you go. All right. And turn your shoulders a little bit more. Right. No, come back a little bit. Right. A little bit more. Right there. Okay. Head forward and down. All right. And then look towards it right there. You see, come back a little bit. A little bit. Oh, this way. There you go. Right there. All right. And then look right about where I'm at. There you go. Pull that. All right. So now I could actually see where this light's coming from.
Yeah, you can see the light. You guys can see the light hitting the wall, and he's finding the place to get in the right place.
And right there. All right. Let me grab the other one. All right. Right there. All right. So now let me switch this over so you can see it. And now you can see I'm a little too close. Let me back up a little bit. Try that one more
But
time.
you can already see that the transition to the lit part to the shadow part is much less harsh.
All right. There we go. There we go. That looks so much better. Because it's a smaller light source, it's going to throw more light. So I had to back up a little bit. All right. So now you can see how that shadow, if I go back, see how dark it is here? And then how much lighter it is there. So you can see how that shadow now has been filled with fill light. Okay. So let me see here. I'm actually going to lower that beam. All right. So let's look at this one more time. Now I could come from the side. Switch you over so you can see what I'm talking about. I could come from this side, okay, and actually just bounce it back into her face, okay? And I'll show you what that does. I could just take this and get that light right where it's hitting her. Right there. And take the shot, okay? And that, but you see how flat that looks? you don't want you want dimension when you take artistic photos, okay? So I'll show you. See how flat she looks right there? Right there, she has dimension. You see the difference? It's a huge difference, okay? I want to see dimension. I want to know what their cheekbones look like. I want to know how it looks, but I don't want it dark and in shadow, okay? So you can see that's a flat, and that's without the reflector on that side. So what I do is I put it under the chin, okay? Because you have some clients that are going to have double chins, okay? And yes, I said that because it's a fact, okay? While lighting underneath the face, so I'll show you. Right, switch. All right. So lighting it on this side from underneath is going to actually light up just the shadows under the chin a little bit, and it's going to kind of creep up the face, but not completely up the face. Okay? So if I'll show you, let's switch it back here. Let's see.
While you do that, we have a question.
Yeah.
Kevin is asking, so would a beauty dish be designed to negate the hotspot effect, allowing you to direct the light source onto your subject, or would that also create a flat image you are describing?
Okay, the beauty dish is what a lot of use for butterfly lighting. It's where you're getting light from above directly with the camera. And that's the reason for that small little disc in the center, is it takes away that hot spot, but it allows you to go above them and shoot down on top of them without blowing their face out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in fact, you're using another position. You're not going to use the same position, so you're not feather. You're going to just put it pointing to the subject, and use the shadow pattern will be another shadow pattern. So if you need more in-depth explanation of the paramount or the butterfly light, we have it in our first show on YouTube. But Rome, we're going to use the beauty edition of you, and we come back to the
Right.
topic.
So now what I'm going to do, Mel, bring that hair off your shoulder. The other one. Bring it around. Yep. There you go. All right. So now turn your face towards the camera. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it looks like when I direct that light straight at her. Okay. Let me just make sure she's there. All right. So you can face the light. All right. There we go. All right. So now, so you can see what reason why we feather. All right. Look towards me. Look right about here.
You pointing straight?
Huh?
You are pointing straight to her right
It's
now?
pointing straight at her.
Okay.
So now, you see that hot spot on that forehead? Let me get on there. All right.
Let me put it full screen. Wait. Okay, you are full screen.
So now, you zoom in. You see those harsh lights right there? You see them in her cheeks,
And just look what it did to her skin.
under the eyes, and look at the skin. Any imperfections, you can really see them because it increases that light and causes more of a shadow. And if you look at her nose, do you see how that shadow doesn't have that gradation from dark to light? It's not transitioning very pretty, does it? It's not a good light because you're going straight at it. And some people are saying, oh, well, you got to turn down the power. And I'm pretty sure that's going to come up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn down the power just to show you that that doesn't matter. Okay. So now I turn down the power about, usually in that one, it's about a half a stop. So we're going to go ahead and shoot this. Mel, turn your head towards me a little more. A little bit more right there. All right. All right. But see, it's still bright. That's that hot spot. Now, if I needed to turn it down more, I'm going to show you. All right. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down.
You're going to keep turning the power down to get underexposed, and you're going to get the same results ever.
So now I'm down a whole stop. And I think he just blinked. Nope, got you. I'm down a stop, and I'm still dropping. So I'm going to go down another stop. Let's see. I'm going to drop it down a whole stop and a half. All right, ready?
Still the same.
Still looks harsh because that light is so powerful when it's hitting. Okay, I'm down 2 stops. And it's still that harsh. Why? Because it is hitting her. Whoops, what was that one? It is hitting her. Cancel. Let's go here. But can you see how those highlights are hitting? And you can see all those blemishes. But you see those hot spots right above the eyebrow at the brow line, right? And you can see that highlight at the eye, and you can see that highlight, but then you also see those shadows are very, very, very sharp. Okay, it becomes a hard light source. Okay, that's the reason why we do not shoot direct.
You can see the specular on her lips. It makes pretty clear we didn't have that much specular light in her lips a few minutes ago.
So I'll show you with it out. See, there it is. So we'll zoom in on that one just to show you. See how the lips are a little softer? They look wet. They don't look shiny. They don't look like a glisten of white. They just look moist.
And just look at the difference on the skin. I think this is even more noticeable. The skin looks flawless, looks perfect.
Right.
And that one, you see all the little imperfections.
Exactly. You're going to actually take a lot less time editing because you're doing it right in the camera. And that's the reason why we feather. Because here you can see soft skin. You can see the shadows are softer, right? And actually, this was the one with the flat light. So let me go back one more. There we go. All right. So we'll go in. All right. So there we go. And you can see it's got that soft look and still a lot less.
I think most of you are watching this on your phones. When you have the chance, just go to a big screen like your computer or your TV and see it close.
All right. So now I'm going to show you the smaller. Let's go back here. All right. So now we're going to move into the metal. Was this 28-inch beauty dish with the grid because I don't want it to fly everywhere. And we're going to put this one on there. So let's go ahead. I'm going to switch this and he'll go ahead and answer. If you guys have any questions, ask them. I'll still be
drop
here.
in the comments if you want us to see and to bring any of our pictures in the live. Just post on Instagram with our hashtag Photo Talk Show, and we're gonna bring it to the live and talk about it. While that, I want to just remind you to give us a like, hit the subscribe button, and if you like the show, just spread the word.
All right, let's see where we're at here.
Kevin sent another question. I feel as
Kevin.
if the catch light with the direct shot was also less flattering.
I also feel as if the catch light with the direct shot. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the catch lights are going to become overbearing. Whereas the catch lights, when it's filtered, or when it's feathered off, I mean, you're not going to see that harsh light. So now with this light, this one's a little tricky because you got to kind of get the edge of that light on her face to get the very side edge so you know that you're on that edge, okay? Because remember that centerpiece has a big silver reflector in it that's going to bounce it out and then come around, okay? So I could go directly on her, but in this case, I'm going to use the edge of it, so I'm still going to kind of get some wraparound light. And we're going to go ahead and here, pull that right there. All right, so again, back with the gray card. Yeah. Love the gray card. And we're going to try this one just where it is. All right. And it looks dark to me. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, come back. So it's dark. All right, so now we're going to, that's about a stop and a third. Oh, stop and one. So let's do up. All right, so we're going to go about there. I'm going to try that again. All right. Oh, I'm off by 2/10. Well, actually, I might be on. I only hit that thing once. Let's try it one more time. 4. Yep, I'm off 2/10. All right. So here we go. Almost there. One more tenth. Boom, center. There we go. All right. So now, again, we're only using 2 lights. We're using that main light, kicker light. So we're going to go ahead and see what this looks like. Aha, did I catch you?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. All right. So fix your hair, flip it over to the side. Yep. All right. Lean forward a little bit, and then turn your head just a little bit more to me. Right there. Okay. And look right here. Right there. Perfect. All right. Let me fix your hair because you kind of got some frizz going. There we go. Let me throw this one over the shoulder. Yeah. Perfect. All right. So here we go. This is going to be this shot. So now, if I zoom in. Doop, doop, doop. Hey, come back here. All right. Now you can see how much harsher this light is because it's a smaller source. I'm doing this from in front of the camera, so it's a little harder. But you can see this light is a lot more harsh. See the shadow right there? It's very defined shadow. You can tell it's a nose, right? In fact, right now I'm a little too low. So I'm going to come up a little bit. About a foot.
What you are looking to know, you are too low with the light.
The angle of the nose shadow. So if you look at that nose shadow, it's actually straight across instead of down. And what I'm looking at is where that shadow's falling. And because I got an LED. Say again?
By now, I think everyone understands that when we are saying about it's too low, it's not about the power. We are talking about the position of the light.
Right. So I need to bring the light to face her more. There we go. So now I'm going to come up a little bit more. All right. So now let me switch this real quick. All right. All right. So now what I'm looking at is from that light, I have to block this light. So unfortunately, I can't see it if I don't. But if you look when that light hits, it's now making that loop and it's ending between her lip and the edge of her nose.
Is the modeling lamp on?
Yep, it's on. That's why I have to move in front so I can see it. So now, if I switch this back over here. So now you can see how that shadow now loops down. Come back over here. Okay. But now you see how this light is very, very specular light. So it's a small source and it's throwing the light at her. Now I could easily move this light closer because it's smaller and I want it to be bigger. Okay, so now I moved it half the distance, which means what? Can anybody tell us what moving half the distance is?
I was checking Instagram to see if we got some pictures. What you ask?
I'm just asking if anybody knows what happens when you move a light half the distance.
You have to lower your power because you're gonna get first. You're gonna get a bit softer, but the shadows are gonna get a bit deeper. But your power
half the distance is what?
is one stop.
One stop of light. Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this one stop of light just so I can ensure it's one stop. And now I'm going to go
He
ahead.
knows it's one stop. He knows it because of the inverse square law.
That's correct.
And because everything in photography is doubles or halves.
So now we're going to take the shot. Same light.
Exposure. Yeah.
So the exposure is still the same. I may want to drop it a little bit more. I think I moved it a little closer than what I thought. I'm not a perfect measurement by my eyes, but I'm going to go ahead and drop it about 3. So now I'm going to do this one more time. Square law rule, Kevin. Kevin asked the question, what's the name of the law? It's called the square law rule.
It's the inverse square law.
Inverse square. So now, let's show you. There we go. And wheel, wrong button. God, doing this from in front of the camera is not that easy. All right. I'm used to being behind it. But notice her nose. Notice that shadow. Do you see how that shadow softened? Because the light source got bigger as it got closer. And I'm still feathering the light, even with the beauty dish. So you can see how that is still giving that nice transition of shadow from dark to light. Okay. And that's using 3 different beauty dishes. Now, the key point that I want to show you is perfect loop light. You look at her eyeball right there. The light source is in the 10 and 2. Okay, so in this case, it's in the 2 o'clock on a clock, right? Make that larger.
Wait a second. It's this one.
Okay, so if you put a clock in her eye, okay, 12 o'clock is straight up, 1 o'clock is to the, angled to the right, and at 2 o'clock is where that beauty dish is. So you're seeing that the light is properly put into the eye, and that's one of the key points that you want to look at when you set up lights. Okay, so in this case now, let me throw you a little bit to the other one. All right, so now you can see how close, I mean, I can literally touch her 1 arm distance away. Okay? That 1 arm distance away is all it is from her face with this 22-inch. I usually like to say that you take the distance of the light, and if you actually double it, you actually have about the right spot for any modifier. The large ones I like to kind of keep relatively about the half for that big, huge softbox. So I like to keep it about 4 to 4.5 feet away, 4.5 feet away from the subject, because that seems to be the right spot for what I like. And there you have it, folks. I mean, any questions? Any questions at all?
While the questions are coming, I want to tell to our viewers who got here a bit late. Today is Rom and Mel anniversary, 17 years together. Congratulations to you both.
She's the best. Do we have a question there? I just saw something.
No, we have Angel just saying that bingo. That's a great tip about how to set up the light stands. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
If you have guys, if you have any questions, we are here. Just drop in the comment box, and we start to answer. So Rome just gave you like the complete setup to a portrait light, breaking down light by light and explaining how to set. He just save you how many dollars? 497.
If you're going by that, if you're going by how much a meter, they range anywhere from $200 to $2,000. So I'd rather pay $7 and get a better image, more accurate image, than to have a, expensive product that I can break. Which
I have one here where that I don't use it for like ages because I'm just using the gray card, and my gray card is small.
Yeah, I mean, what about a one light setup? Perhaps using a reflector to make two. Well, we actually did that on the first shot.
Where you saw that? Oh, it's here. Sorry.
Rusted Angel. All right, a one light setup is just the same thing without the kicker. So if I just turn off the kicker here, and I'll show you real quick. All right, I'm using the small beauty dish. I haven't changed anything. I just turned off the kicker. All right. So we'll just show you real quick. All right. So let me switch this over. All right. So all I did was I took off the backlight. All right. That's without the backlight. Now, if you notice, let me go back over there. All right. Notice how that shadow side of her head, you're losing the hair to the background. Okay. That's one big thing that you want to try to get rid of. So how do you get rid of that? Well,
10 cents reflector.
Well, one, you can easily make a bigger one of these, right? And use aluminum foil. And you come right back here, okay? And I can easily bounce that right back into her hair. So let me switch that over. All right, let me see if I can get it in there. Pretty sure it's about right here. All right. Oh, try that again. There we go. All right. So almost. In this case, let me go ahead and pull this. So now I'm going to pull off that grid so I can get a little more light coming at her. All right. So now you're going to see a big difference in light and how it spreads. So now I pulled it off. I'm not even going to use the reflector just so you guys can see it. All right. You see how bright that is. So I'm going to go ahead and lower that down because I've taken off that grid.
The grid cut some light. So when he took it out, he has to kind of make the flash a bit lower. So
Look at the background. This is what I'm trying to show you. See what that grid did? Look at the background. Gridded, not gridded. Not gridded, spread that light to the background. It hit the chair. It hit her head.
It creates a shadow on the chair.
Right. I mean, you can see all kinds of wrong, right? Well, it's because it's not controlled. I'm in this little bitty tiny room. So I have to actually turn this thing a lot. So let me show you, go to the other screen here.
By turn, you mean to feather more.
Correct. So what I'm going to do is I need to get it off the chair, right?
Oh, can you come back a bit? Can you come back to the position it was?
Here.
If you guys can see, look to the background and see the shadow moving as he feathered the light.
So
Coming
now
back.
I'm going to
Now you can
turn
come.
the light
See,
until I'm
it's getting dark in the background. So he's feathering. He's
off
taking
her off that background, and I'm hitting just the edge of her hair. Okay. So now I have it feathered. All right. And to be honest with you, it's pointing at me here, and I can't even touch her. That's how far away I am. So because it doesn't have a grid, it's going to be a lot harder to get the light to come off. And I'm going to go ahead and hit that. And let's switch over. So now I need to reduce that light so much. Take the shot real quick. So you can see how bright that is, right? Because there's no grid. There's no focus light. There's nothing. It's shooting a ton of.
If you look at the background, you're going to see that the lights are already a lot out of it.
Yeah. So you can see that's with the grid. So I'm able to control that light. That's with it pointed at her. And you can see the light hitting everywhere. I mean, it's hitting the background. It's hitting everything. Then I turned it again. And now it's not hitting the background so much. It's giving a little bit of a background. But that's because it's very, 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 very bright. And we're going to go ahead and lower that. I want to say about a stop and a half.
Do you have an idea of how much our grid cut of light? How much light?
A grid cuts roughly about a stop and a half. And I'm going to gray card this because I don't trust my eyes. So we're going to put that back in front of her. We're going to go ahead and hit this. Actually looks not too bad. Let's see.
It's almost there.
It's pretty close. Yep, we're pretty close. So I'm about 1/10 off. So I'm going to go ahead and lower it about 1/10. All right. And now we're going to try it again. There we go. We're at center. So that was a stop and a half of light difference from the feather to the non-feather. Now you can see she's almost coming in the camera now because it's so much light. So we're going to go ahead and take the shot. Now you can see there's a little bit on that chair, for one. But it's not on the background as much. I just got you with a blink. All right, so let me see here. Dink. All right, I'm gonna pull that off. All right, so now you can see the background is fairly dark. There's still light hitting it because it's so much bouncing around this little room that it's going to throw light into that background. Okay, but without the grid, I can't control it. It's non-controllable in this small room. It's bouncing off of every wall. Okay, and that's what that grid is for.
Yeah, for control, you can use the grid. You can use flags to flag the light.
But now, because the light's flying everywhere, okay.
Now you can bounce it back.
Now, of course, if I had a flag, okay, and let me switch over so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, if I had a flag, I could actually put a flag right here, and I could actually block light. Okay, you see how it's hitting this instead of hitting her? And it'll let it wrap around. So if I wanted to, I'll show you real quick. All right, and I'm blocking some of the light. So you can see how it's taking that light off. So I'm a little bit off. I'm trying to reach over. Okay. So you can see how I'm taking out that light. Okay, that's called a go-between. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could just go like this. I can see where it's hitting right there, and boom, there. Okay, so just by taking a little piece of cardboard, you can easily go ahead and block light from what you don't want. But again, with a grid, you can do the same thing and be a lot more easier and not have to deal with a whole bunch of other stuff. Okay. And now for that second light that they asked about. All right. Go ahead and move this just a little bit more. All right. So now I'm going to come from over here. I'm going to get that light right on her back of her hair. Right.
And you're using the same concept. You're kind of doing a cross light, aren't you?
Correct. So now, it.
And you have the hair back.
Almost got it. Let me come over here. All right. There we go. So now you can see I lit up that hair just a little bit. Let me get on there. Okay, so now you can see the hair, right? So all I did was I added a kicker using this little 10-cent reflector. And you can see the difference. See?
Let me zoom in. Wait. Okay. Go.
See the difference?
It is not flat.
That's without, and that's with.
There's a still shadow there.
This one I missed and I actually hit the chair. But this one I got. So you can see how now she has a little bit of a separation because you could see the end of where the hair ends. Whereas here you couldn't. See? It's diving back into that shadow. So just that little simple reflector, right, added that little bit of light, just like as if it's a kicker light. Does that make sense to anyone?
Yes, it does.
Does that answer your question, Rusted Angel?
And the point here is, yes, we can do it with a reflector, but having the kicker back there gives you so much more flexibility and so much more control of the light that is back there. So if you have two lights, go for two lights.
Yes. I mean, two light setups are great. One light setup, you have a lot of dark and shadow. Okay. Let me turn off this little light over here because it's making a lot of light. Actually, I can use it. I'll spin it around. So, all right. So that was the 5 light source setup. And we hope you guys enjoyed this. We hope it was educational. I hope I explained all my different setups, all my different ways to utilize the lights. I showed you a main light by itself. I showed you the hair light. I showed you what a background light. I showed you the kicker light. I showed you the 4x6 softbox to show you a soft wraparound. I showed you the 34-inch beauty dish, which is the one that I recommend. Okay, that's the Easy Lock beauty dish from Autorama. Okay, that's the one that I've always told beginners to get when they're getting in the Flash. Okay, everything that I did today could be done with an AD200. Everything. So you don't need a huge strobe. Strobes are used for outside when you're trying to kill light. Okay, that's really the main purpose.
Angel is saying, what I'm seeing is that shooting with only one light is a lot harder, but it's doable. It's even harder when you only have one speed light, but it can work.
Yes. It's going to be hard because you have a lot of shadow. And then with the speed light being so small, the smaller that light source, the harder that light's going to be, which means it's not going to feather as much. So if you're direct hitting them with a flash, you're going to get a very pronounced shadow. If you look at, go step out in the sun and look at your shadow. And then when the cloud cover comes over, look at your shadow. You're going to see two completely different shadows. One will be a very harsh shadow. One's going to be a very subtle shadow. And then if it's dark clouds, you'll see no shadow. It'll be even light all the way around. Okay.
Yep.
And that's the same way that we try to explain for the lights, is you're doing the same effect. Do we have anything else in there?
Not yet. Also, Rom show you how to really nail your exposure using a gray card instead of flash meter. That's very important. And yeah, is Rom favorite tool. He
This
carries in his pocket.
This has a little pouch that flips around and just I shove it in my pocket. If I move a light, I reach back, grab it, pop it out, boom, put it up there, go over there, done. Put it back in the
He takes
pocket.
with him always when he goes for dinner parties, when he goes to the post office. It's always with him.
No
His favorite.
for it. So anyway, I thank you guys for joining us. This has been a great episode. I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope there's a lot of things that you guys want to learn in the future. Make sure to like, subscribe,
Yep.
and leave a note as to what you want to see in a video. What do you need to learn? What would you like to be explained to you? And I'm pretty sure you guys like Mel, so I'm pretty sure Mel would be more than happy to in as a model. But anyway, thank you guys. And I'm pretty sure.
Before we leave, I need to show you something. Can you see yourself on TV?
Hey, look at me.
You're famous now. We had so much fun doing this show. We look like two little kids since the beginning of the week, waiting for Thursday so we can do this show.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I mean, it's great because we're able to touch so many people online, especially during COVID. I mean, nobody can leave their house, right? In most states, you still can't leave your house. So this is fun for us because we're able to reach out and help all these new guys, everybody that's new out there, and show them how to achieve professional lighting. I mean, this is great.
It's a professional look. If you don't want even to edit that picture, you can just deliver it. You did everything on camera. The skin is perfect. The pose is perfect. The eyes are perfect. Anyway,
let's
Thank
tell
you,
Mel. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
She's been a trooper. And we're going to go eat and have our anniversary dinner.
Should I leave our viewers with the death notice again?
Sure. It was pretty funny.
So, good evening, good night, everyone. We see each other in the next Thursday. Rome?
Have a great afternoon.